and nobody coming in. I grew up in Asheboro and went to high school here, but left for college and work, bigger and better things. Then, this spring, my old friend Lisbeth looked me up and asked if I could help save the town from total collapse. And since I was between jobs, I foolishly said yes. I had decided to start by rehabbing the Barton Mansion before moving on to the town's main street, a row of small businesses that could be a charming time capsule attraction for tourists with a bit of love and editing. The future of this whole save the town idea had been hanging in the balance until I'd been lucky enough to score a contribution from a major regional utility company. It had taken a bit of arm twisting, or maybe I should call it gentle blackmail, to make it happen, but it had worked, and Mid-Atlantic Power's contribution would be enough to get things started, finally. The whole town needed an overhaul in short order, but we would begin with the Barton Mansion, which I was looking forward to restoring to its original glory as the centerpiece of the town's renovation. I took a deep breath and brought my hands together in front of me. "Thank you all for coming," I began. Or maybe I should start by thanking you for agreeing to be part of this. I asked you all not only because I know you'll have great ideas, but because you are the memory of the town of Asheboro. You remember what it was like years ago. Well, Lisbeth here is the exception. She's here because she dragged me into this, and I wouldn't let her walk away. "Happy to be on the team," Lisbeth said with a smile, gesturing grandly with the half-empty juice box she must have pulled from her purse when I wasn't looking. The rest of the group sipped quietly at mugs of coffee and tea I had produced from the B&B's kitchen just minutes ago. "Lisbeth grew up in this town," I continued, "so she's seen a lot of the more recent changes, and those matter too. Francis, Mac, Ted, you've been an active part of the town all your adult lives, and I'm assuming that means you care about the place. Francis, you and I know you're sitting on a treasure trove of historical information at the local paper, and we'll need that. Mac, your hardware store is almost untouched since 1900, and that's not an insult, believe me. It's a real asset to what we want to do, a blueprint, if you will. Ted, in your cafe, you've watched a generation or two of kids grow up here, listen to their gossip and complaints. You can tell us what they've cared about and whether we can recreate those places and spaces." They were all nodding along so far, which let me know we had at least cleared the hurdle of establishing that they cared about the town. I didn't want any deserters if it could be avoided. I continued speaking. "Mayor Skip will represent the town, at least on an honorary basis. The first new addition to our group is Carol Peterson, who has been helping sort and catalog the Henry Barton letters and files." "Wasn't she off getting a degree somewhere else?" Frances asked. "Yes, but I persuaded my friend Nell in Philadelphia, who Carol's been interning for this year, to consider our project relevant to her studies, so she'll get credit for it. Besides, working with an untouched 19th century collection of papers would be a treat for anyone focusing on library studies. Henry Barton kept a lot of records, and we're hoping that the files from his estate will shed some light on his family and the town, and maybe provide some details about the construction of the house."
"You're going to have problems with things like the wiring and plumbing,"
Mac pointed out, making a left turn in the conversation. "We'll be careful to choose contractors who respect historic buildings and can make the modernization all but invisible but still up to code." I hoped that statement would come true. I certainly had never done it before.
"How much you think you're going to change?"
Mac pressed on.
"I mean, do you have standards you have to meet to be able to open the place to the public?"
"Mac, I can't say I'm an expert, but of course we'll be looking into that. That's why we're talking about these things now, so we can plan." "What changes do you think we'll have to make?" Frances asked. "I'm going to guess that any historic building like the Barton Mansion would have to have basic toilet facilities for the public, and they should ideally be more than a line of portable toilets behind the building. The wiring should be up to code, so we don't burn the place down by accident.